Hi, I'm Noah Jones, lead producer and co host of the Brewery Explorers podcast. Today we are celebrating Black History Month by talking with Alematic Artisan Ales in Huber Heights, Ohio. They are just one of 3 Black owned breweries in the state of Ohio. In this podcast, we discuss their involvement with the community, how they help support other Black owned breweries, and how they try to bring people into their brewery. It's a fascinating conversation, and I'm really excited for you to hear it. Before we start the show, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to our show on YouTube or however you are listening to our podcast. A review and a rating go a long way as well, and we'd love to hear from you.
1, 2, 3, go!
Welcome back to the Brewery Explorers podcast. I'm with my buddies, Eric and Noah. How are we doing today?
Hey Blake, I'm doing well. How are you doing, my friend?
Good.
Happy to be here on a Sunday.
Yes, Sunday fun days are the best days.
Sunday chilly day.
Yes, lots of chili. So,
Yeah.
Eric, what have you been up to recently?
Just with this weather, trying to stay warm. Explore beer. You know?
Well, I don't want to brag, but I'm a baker now. I made sourdough hamburger buns yesterday from scratch, and they were maybe worth all of my excitement. They were delicious. Although I will say, we did not master the rolling of the balls, so they sort of became like sourdough, like submarine sandwiches, but still delicious in taste.
Welcome to the show, Jared
Thank you.
and Mike.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, how did you guys get into craft?
So,
Go for it.
first I will say I too maintain a sourdough starter. So,
Amazing. We'll have to share secrets.
Yes, I understand your pain in dough shaping.
Yes. Thank you so much for understanding.
But
Now you know why he's the brewer, because he has to have a sourdough starter out.
Right. It's,
Yes.
it's all
it's all
yeast.
fermentation.
Yeah.
So we got into craft just by going to a craft beer bar, really, outside of a job Mike and I had back in college days at Sears selling TVs, vacuums, and that stuff.
Expensive TVs and vacuums.
Yeah. But there's a bar behind the store that had probably 30, 40 taps or so. And so it's kind of the first place we probably got to really experiment with different types of beer, styles of beer, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think every Wednesday was like, it's been a while now, $4 or $5 beer. I mean, it's cheap. They're running a special, so you try everything because it's cheap.
Oh, it was like $2 Tuesdays.
Or $2. It was something ridiculous
Pint
for.
rate.
Yeah, it was something
craft
ridiculous.
beer?
Yeah, I mean, because craft beer wasn't like popular back then. They were just had a lot of beer on tap. So
Yeah.
Where is this at?
oh man, what was the name? Was
It's
that?
called Fox and Hound.
It was Fox and Hound.
Yeah.
Pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, memories.
Where is it located?
It was.
It was in Beaver Creek behind the
Okay.
Fairfield Mall.
Oh yeah, he's right on it. It's like he's telling our life story.
So then, when did you guys decide to open up this one?
Oh gosh, I can tell you the exact year. It was 2014.
My wife and I went to a brewery on New Year's Eve in 2013. And she's like, it was the first time she had been in a brewery. And she's like, you could do this. I'm like, okay, is that permission?
Definitely,
Yeah, so then
you need permission.
it was the next week I called him. It was like, okay, everything's, the groundwork set up.
Yeah, it might have been early 2014. I don't remember exactly, but
It was.
I mean, time starts to smash in on itself over time. So, but yeah, I remember you telling me that. So that did happen, but but it could have been just him. I'm glad I'm part of the ride.
Right.
I mean, so to speak. Anyway.
I mean, I find it interesting with like 2014 that was a major year for Ohio breweries. Like,
Yeah.
that's when one of the biggest explosions started happening. So, so what made you guys choose this location, Huber?
This location happened for lots of reasons, but the main reason was just serendipitous. We ended up meeting the landlord here. Worked really well together. He was very open with us about what could happen here and what we would need, and we obviously had a budget that we needed to follow, so everything just kind of honestly fell in place. We looked at a lot of places before we settled in here, and this ended up being the best starting point for us. And like I said, logistically, financially, everything. And like I said, we're blessed to be able to actually work with the person that we're paying rent to. We're not just them looking at us as a paycheck, so it's nice.
So being in this, Huber Heights, North Dayton suburb, how does your brewery engage with the community?
We try as often as we can to do anything community related. There's a lot of people in the current community that do events, and we will, if we're ever asked to be part of it, we definitely try to. If it makes sense, we can do it. There's obviously some limitations with alcohol. Having the coffee shop side actually gives us a little more opportunity to engage the community, so we're really excited about what that could bring. But yeah, we definitely do anything. So I mean, I'll give you an example. Huber has an event they call Hopping in the Heights. It's basically trick or treating, but for Easter. And we will have the Optimist Club will be sitting out front handing out candy on that day in April. So I mean, that's just a way of. That's an easy way to give back. We give them a place to be. We get the kids get to get out and do something fun. So, I mean, whether it's that or them saying, "Hey, we need a place to host an event," we're always open to it.
Yeah, and you guys are part of the Dayton Ale Trail too.
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
So one thing we just noticed. Noah sent us a text the other day. He's like, "Look what I got," and it's all black everything because he lives in walking distance.
Oh, nice.
Esoteric.
We were there last night.
So, can you guys talk a little bit about this collaboration, what it means, and all that?
Yeah, so this is the second year that we've done this with Esoteric. And, it's an imperial stout with coffee in it. And so coffee came from Pettibone, which is the primary roaster we use here for our coffee shop. And we will probably barrel age some of this year too, and
The plan.
put some out in a barrel at a later date. But we met the guys from Esoteric the night that they had their industry opening, and we kind of talked about doing a collab at that time. But in the brewery world, a lot of times you just you meet another brewery, you're just like, we should collab. And so then it's like, okay, and then with some people, every time you see them, we got to get that scheduled.
We gotta get that scheduled. I mean, schedules are rough,
It is. And so last year, they they called us up and we got the date locked down, and it really went off really well. Last year, and so we decided that it's something we want to continue to do. Every year build upon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a fun beer to make, and again, working with them is great. I mean, collabs are great in general, but it's even better when you definitely get along with the people you're working with.
For sure.
And you've got a common goal. So,
When it comes to collaboration, how does that work? Is it only just what does that mean exactly? Is it equal part 50-50? Each brewery does a little bit of everything, or is it just sort of tell us exactly what that means?
It does differ a little bit based off of breweries. So in a way, every collaboration's different. Yep. In some instances, it's just the brewers talking to each other and just kind of shooting ideas out and kind of coming to the idea of a beer together. And then with some larger breweries, it's kind of starts with the marketing department because they're thinking about labels and names and all this stuff and what we can sell before we even get to coming up with recipe and stuff like that. But the for the most part, I mean, it's typically one brewery is the one physically brewing the beer, but the recipe and the concept and everything is kind of shared in development there.
Yeah, I'd say that's where most of the quote-unquote collab part comes from. It's all the background stuff because, clearly it's the host is doing the work, essentially. I mean, we're there to help, but when you're not the host, you're the collaborating brewery, you're the one that's there. It's a nice little day off, usually. And you get to lift. They usually make you do all the grain lifting. So And once that's over, you're drinking beer. So, but yeah, so we enjoy them because it's nice to see how other people work and be able to just talk about ideas in general, not just the beer, but we can talk about, well, what's working for you and how'd you do this, and oh, we didn't think of that, and we've been able to, especially with some of the people that we've done collabs with on a yearly basis, we've been able to learn from each other, and I think that's the best part about collabs, is like the people get to know them, and then let's say just learn from each other.
And I mean, Noah lives, in literal walking distance of Esoteric.
Look at you, Walnut Hills.
And
I know.
yeah,
I'm a really cool person.
and so I know like one thing he's told us is like they're big on inclusivity, community involvement, and also I heard from Blake you guys do like a tap takeover on Juneteenth. Can you talk more about like the importance of that for you guys?
Sure.
Yeah, so the tap takeover is the third year this year.
If we do it this year, it'll be year 3. Yes.
So we will go and find kegs from other black-owned breweries or breweries where there's black people in production staff or whatever, and bring those in. And it's just a cool way to kind of highlight the industry. There's because there's not a ton of diversity in the industry. It's growing, but and I think in Ohio now there's 3.
There's only 3 of us now.
Black-owned breweries, yep. And so, it's a good opportunity to just get to work with those guys. We've met a lot of people through what's called Barrel and Flow, which is a festival out in Pittsburgh, which brings in black brewers from all over the country. They've been ranked like best festival in the country several years in a row
by USA Today.
Yeah, from USA Today. But
What is that?
it's in August every year, and you'll have breweries from California, Texas, Georgia, everywhere. It's been a good experience for us to get to meet people. And then the other thing is they always do collabs, and a lot of larger breweries participate in that too. And so you'll get a small brewery who gets to do a collab with like a Revolution, Trillium's participated, Jay Wakefield's participated,
Second Shift,
Second
who we've
Shift.
worked with.
Yeah, and so so it's really, I think, just a great way, to network, but also to, help increase, diversity by, helping people make contact and stuff like that. Because, like in any industry, it's who you know, and so
Absolutely.
the more relationships and connections you can make,
Yeah, one of the up and coming breweries we met out there years ago. They're doing an in residency program with Creature Comforts right now. They don't have their own physical location, but they're brewing beer with them. They're learning. I mean, it's they're taking advantage of the experience that they're getting. But it was because of doing all that they were able to, make that happen. So it's a really neat thing.
One of the things that we spoke, our very first episode was with Warped Wing, and we were talking with John during one of our interviews, and he told us that he notices that a lot of the people look like him and us, white people with beards typically, who and at any rate, and so one of the things that I was sort of thinking, like you too, Mike, don't worry,
I know. You look way different, man.
one of the things that I was sort of wondering about, I guess, is that since you were a black-owned brewery, do you typically attract more people than Warped Wing that look like you? Is there I don't really know how to imagine if that happened, but would you feel like that you're helping introduce a new type of beer drinker to craft beer?
I think so. I mean, I think that we've always had one of the most diverse crowds in our tap room, and really through no intentional, marketing or anything specifically, to make that happen. And so, yeah, I think that, it's just one of those things of, mirroring. So, there's been, early on after we opened, there was, articles in the local news and stuff like that about us. And so I think it probably gave a lot of people I should go, check them out. And Huber as a city is a pretty diverse city too, compared to the Dayton area. It might be
suburbs,
one of the most diverse suburbs in the area too, and so that definitely helps too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. In a down year for selling beer nationally, do you feel like you guys have found a little bit more success perhaps in that you're getting more than the average white guy coming in for beer because you're getting different, groups of people, I suppose, coming in to drink?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it would be hard to quantify.
Sure.
We've gone through a lot of changes in the last year because we opened the coffee shop. We didn't have food last year. In 2022 we didn't have food. We opened the kitchen in March of 2023, and so for us, I think all of our data is just kind of skewed right now because we're trying to figure out what the new normal is. We've got a lot of people who have come in to get coffee who walked into the tap room like, I never knew this was here. And so it's, different crowds, from different sources, but then, they still end up becoming one of a kind of a blended customer base. And so it's hard to say specifically like where traffic comes from, as a whole.
I 100% agree with that. Because it is very well blended, and he's right with just how everything has been changing for us so fast. It would be really hard to I want to tell you, that's what's happening, but I have no idea. We're all kind of experiencing overall some of the same things. I'm hoping that we are still in the game because we have been enhancing what we've been doing. So, time will tell for sure.
Okay.
And is that one of the reasons like we had Plan B was, hey, we could coffee people in here and there's a bar. Or is that
I think we opened this to have a kitchen. To be quite honest, it was, we need food. Like food is the thing. You see, you guys have been around. All the breweries are going that way. There's a reason. We're like, we need to do this. This opportunity happened. We did that. The coffee shop was like, hey, we have this space. Let's utilize it, right? Mm-hmm. Well, since March, we've evolved from a coffee shop with food to a restaurant with coffee shop. I'm being honest. That's what we are now. And the restaurant part serves not only the B side, but it serves Alematic. So, and that's why if you look at our menu, we have breakfast every day.
Nice.
Nice. Where we started out with just pastries and coffee. Yeah. Well, again, this shows you what the importance of food is. We love our beer, we love our coffee, we love our all of our drinks, but people got to eat, man. People love food.
Which I can advise on Wednesdays. Their burger deal is awesome.
Cool. Yeah. And then today you guys had the chili cook-off.
Yeah, today was a one. I say one-off event. We're not doing chili cook-offs every Sunday.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did the chili cook-off. It went really well, and I think we'll look at doing some more fun things like this. Maybe the mac and cheese, right? Mac and cheese cook-off.
Yeah, we'll
Everybody posted up in here.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Can we do another podcast?
Mac and cheese, man. Again, like people who entered had a lot of fun. That was my concern. Everybody stayed and had a good time, and the voting was super tight too. So that made it even better. That means there's a lot of good chili here and not, one good chili. So yeah.
And your Oktoberfest was fun. The best past October.
Oktoberfest event, yeah. And that's the thing. We're going to continue to try to do fun events, and we want people to, want to come out no matter what. But we can give you something to enjoy while you're here besides your beer. That's a bonus.
You think that's one of how some breweries are struggling? That some of them don't try to adapt and have some fun events. They try to stay status quo, and they figure out why we can't get people in. But you have places like you and other places say, let's have events to try to bring people in the door. Because obviously, so for some people, beer is just not enough nowadays.
Yeah, and there's so much beer out there, and I don't think it's no different than like a lot of the things that like NFL is like experience where, a lot of times they have trouble selling tickets because the experience on TV is so good. So like going to a bottle shop or craft beer place and getting beer, taking it home and drinking, it's not a bad experience, and so you're competing to get people out of the house.
Yep.
Especially this time of year. It's cold outside, and it's just more comfortable just being at home. So
Yeah.
I think that creating more, we kind of call it programming, but just creating more like programming within the tap room to get people out, seems to be the trick. So whether it's trivia, we do music bingo, and things like that to try to like just pull more people out, and then stuff like this chili cook-off and whatnot.
Well, I'll tell you what. I walked in. It's cold outside. It's cold and rainy. My two least favorite weather conditions.
Not cold and snowy.
And I mean, at least it's pretty.
Yeah.
Right? With rain, it's just wet and your socks and shoes get damp. It's just not fun.
Yes.
But walking into a bar that has chili made up for it immediately.
Instantly warmed up your soul.
Yes.
You're like, oh, yeah.
And more importantly, I had no idea that's what I was walking into, so I was very happy.
Yeah, we
Especially
forgot-
when you handed
forgot
me the
to-
ticket to vote.
That's right, I did. I was like, hey, you guys go get some chili. But I definitely forgot to tell Blake, hey, there's going to be chili today.
Well, so normally we have a flight of beer in front of us, and the only reason why we didn't do that today was because we thought it would be fun for us all to get different beers and talk about them. So if we can sort of shift our conversation from conversation to conversation about beers, Blake, what are you drinking?
I think it's Danny, California.
I was getting ready to say, are you drinking Conversations in the Dark?
No,
That would have been
no.
a great segue.
No,
Well, tell us about that, and then we'll talk about Danny, California.
I always get conversation in the dark,
I
and I
know.
saw something new. I was like,
I just saw dark beers. I'm like, that was, oh man, this guy knew what he was doing.
That's my secret. I rarely know what I'm doing.
That's my secret. No, we can talk about what you have. We can totally talk about Danny.
so, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll let Jared talk. He's the brewer. I mean, I have my interpretations of that beer because working behind the bar, I have to tell people what it tastes like. But, this was Jared's concept. He made it, so I'll let him start anyway.
So, Danny is a Imperial Mexican hot chocolate stout.
Ooh,
And so
sounds very good.
Yeah.
that one is brewed with ancho, guajillo, and habanero peppers, cocoa powder, cocoa nibs, and a cinnamon and little vanilla.
I can tell you, whether he agrees with me or not, the first batch you made was my favorite. But only because I'm in the very, very minority. Because I like heat.
Oh, it was very
Oh, he
nice.
likes the spice. Yeah.
The first one was hotter. Since then, I think we've dialed it where it needs to be, to where it fits a lot of,
He likes heat. I like balance.
It's big. Yes, it's true. It is much more balanced, and people who see Mexican hot chocolate stout and are scared that it's gonna burn, be hot heat wise,
Right.
haven't been able to enjoy it because it doesn't. It really burn down your throat. So I wanted that. I was like, oh, dude, let's make a pepper stout.
It tastes like winter, right?
Tastes like winter.
It's delicious. I wish that I had ordered it. Not that I don't love what I got, but it's amazing. And the fact that personally, I think people who create things are just genuinely really cool. But when they taste things or when they create things that are amazing like that, I get really, really excited.
What I come to know from these guys is that when I see a stout, I know it. I know you guys make a lot of other things good, but your stouts are what I really go for, and so does my dad. Yeah. But
Jared, are you a stout guy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's always stout season.
Yes,
That's how Blake is.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
true story. We are one of the few places that you can pretty much get a stout in the summer.
Yeah.
A lot of places will back off of them. We're like, nah, we'll release that.
Do that.
Not in Huber Heights.
European, very European.
Yeah, very, very European. Yeah, I mean, we'll put it out because there are people like yourself, just like yourself, Blake, that will come here and be like, I know it's July, but I still want a stout. So yeah. So we may not have 10 on, but we'll have something on generally.
Now I'm drinking the black IPA, and this is the this is the beer that Blake has raved about more than any. It's the beer his family from St. Louis will come in. They're like, we need to have this one.
Yes. So that is probably the only recipe that we brew that started as a homebrew recipe for me. And it's evolved a little bit over time. Black IPA has always been one of my favorite styles. But, they were popular for a minute, and then they just kind of disappeared. And but they're starting to kind of make a resurgence. But one thing I always notice about them is that there's usually either it's too roasty or too hoppy. And so we've kind of tried to go right down the middle to where there's kind of this blend where there's a nice balanced hop character, but it's also decidedly, a roasty beer too. And so it's a little bit softer on the palate than a lot of black IPAs that you see out there.
Yeah.
Now, you said you started, this is one of the ones you were making before you even opened the brewery, home brewing?
Right.
Okay. What have you learned that you've been I should probably maybe tweak this, or has it been perfect from the get-go?
That beer specifically?
Sure. Let's start with the beer specifically, then I guess in general.
So with that beer specifically, I think that it really probably started the way I was describing a lot of the ones you see on the market.
One way or the other.
Yeah. So it's kind of give me the West Coast, old school West Coast beer, but then also give me a Baltic Porter and just mash them together.
Yeah.
And sometimes those kind of compete against each other.
Too much.
Yeah. And so so really it was more about figuring out the balance of softening things out and kind of simplifying things. And really I think that that's the approach that I've adapted more. So getting into professional brewing from home brewing is that homebrewers do a lot of stuff that you just don't need to do. It's just extra. Yeah.
Sorry, homebrew.
Yeah. So, simplicity, is one of those things that a lot of times, that's really where the flavors you want to shine through come from, because you get everything else out of the way.
I mean, I will tell you, it's hard to pick a favorite kid, right? But it's probably the beer I'm the most proud of, to be honest. And that's a lot coming from me because I love coffee beers, and Jared makes a hell of a coffee stout. And so for me, like I said, it's probably the beer I'm the most proud of. If we were going to showcase a single beer somewhere, that's generally the beer I'm hey, we have it, let's take it. Because it always does well at Beer Fest, because we're usually probably the only one with the black IPA.
Yeah.
And, again, people do like them, but they've fluctuated in popularity over the last 10 years. So yeah, it's my favorite beer. I'm glad you chose that, my friend. That's good. I think I said that you were oh, I said,
Yeah.
good.
It's all this guy. He's
So you're more proud of that than your cereal beer? I'm kidding.
We've actually never even made a cereal, but those are just been we did an event with cereal beer where we infused our porter with some cereals, but we've never actually been hey, we're gonna put all the cereal in all the beer.
It was so much fun though.
But it's a fun thing, and there's a shot we might do that again. So
You can make a Trix flavored milkshake here.
oh gosh, I might need cereal milk to do that. I don't know.
Well, I think
It's
that's
something to make it.
doable.
It's between that and the Oreo stout you do.
All right, the Oreo porter.
Yeah.
Yeah, people seem to really like Oreos, man. Oreos and beer.
Well,
They're vegan.
was it Third Eye told us that Ohioans love sweet beer?
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And as a sour fan, or sour stan, as the children would say, I completely agree.
Yes.
I don't know. Do they still say that?
Yeah, you're good.
did.
Oh, phew.
They still call people stands. Is that a thing?
I say that as a 30-year-old.
Okay, cool. Me too.
Thank you, man. We'll forever have Stan.
Yeah. But speaking of which, I'm drinking is it called the Wild Thing?
Wild Dots.
Wild Dots.
It's the only
And
red beer, so I knew
it's really, really good. I am a huge sour fan, and I think this is really, really good.
And that one is a cranberry sour. And it's probably again, with simplicity, it's probably one of our simpler sours. 'Cause a lot of them have more multiple fruits or other spices and things like that in there. This is just cranberry and hibiscus.
Okay.
And but it just makes for really refreshing. Not too tart. We tend to shy away from going too aggressive with sourness, because we want things to be approachable.
Right.
We find a lot of people who don't drink beer like our sours.
Yeah.
So
It's true.
Maybe I shouldn't be on this podcast.
No, you're good.
So you've come a long way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, look.
well, you want it to be approachable though, because when we started drinking craft beer, like our go-to is cherry wheat, and so
The same Adams cherry.
Yeah.
That was my first
yeah, and so
You were just as weird as we are.
Yeah.
right. So the thought that you start there and then I don't really think that there's a style of beer that I don't enjoy now, but at the time that was sugary and sweetened was the only beer that I thought that tasted any good.
Yeah, I was like, sorry, Jim, we love you if you hear this podcast, but if I smell it now, or I taste it now, it's like drinking Robitussin.
Right.
But it's, but yeah, no, we'd go to Fox and Hound, and they had it almost back to back in those joints for $3. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So, when your people are hearing this, we're a week of your 5-year anniversary. So, what are you guys most proud of, and do you have any special beers coming out for it?
We do have some, we do have some things coming out. Jerry's been working his tail off in there to bring you guys all some really cool beer for this for number 5. You will clearly see All Black Everything come back. Yes. We have our yearly collab with our friends at Nocterra because we celebrate a birthday with them. This year we changed it up a lot. We are putting a mixed 4-pack of 2 different stouts with them.
Nice.
One is called More Music and one's called More Outdoors. So they're gonna be really interesting and fun beers. So I think you'll like them, especially your stout guys. So we've got some things we have been kind of hush on, but we'll go ahead and tell you because we're in this room. It's fine. Our cream ale is gonna come out as a coffee cream ale. Oh yes. We're gonna put that out. Jared finally granted my wish. Thank you, Jeannie Jared. I love coffee beers and 100% feel like my faith in him is very high. I feel like he could blow out of the water. So I kept telling him to do it. He's like, oh, maybe.
A cream ale to coffie beer is like a marriage in heaven for me.
Yeah, because it's light and you get it's perfect. So we got that coming out. I know I'm blanking out. So we have another sour beer coming out called Crush on You.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's that and 4 Love Stones.
I would say
My mom will love that.
So yeah, we make a beer. So I don't know how much you got. I know Blake knows, but we make a beer called Lovestone, and it's different variations all the time. Just this time, for the first time, we're gonna put 4 different versions out. Yep. And if our pumpkin one is still on, we'll have 5. So unless it gets drank up this week, I feel like I'm forgetting something.
The Big Balloons,
The Big Balloon,
which is a milkshake IPA we do every year for anniversary. So it's strawberry and white peach.
yeah, it's
There is a rum oak aged Danny that'll go on tap.
yep. So here's some of the little things that I'm forgetting about.
I think all 20 of our taps will be full.
Wow.
Yeah, they should be.
So
There might be a surprise. We might have forgot something. So we'll find out. That sounds.
yeah, the only way to find out is by coming.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out.
So what are you guys most proud of for being open for 5 years? I mean, that's not an easy task, especially in today's climate.
Yeah,
The pandemic and everything.
I think that it's I guess Brazilians more than anything. We were open exactly 1 year when COVID happened and all the tap rooms got shut down and stuff, and so we didn't have any real capacity to like sell beer online or anything like that at the time. So we had to like scramble and get that going. We had crowlers that we had luckily started in like November the year before, but we didn't have any kind of like 16 or 12 ounce canning stuff there, and so we had a lot of 12-hour days canning beer by hand. And and just try to like pivot and figure out like what was work with in any way to get beer out the door. and so but we made it through there, and then, we've always tried to continue to, innovate, with beers and whatnot, because to an extent, like craft beer, everybody's making the same styles, but always to have like your own unique twist on it to where, your brewery stands out, you're not just another brewery.
It's not just another IPA.
Yeah. And so, I think we were able to, kind of double the size of the place and add the kitchen, the coffee shop. And so, things are going in the right direction. And, you always have businesses, most fail in the first year, that they don't fail in the first year, they'll fail in the second or third. And so, five's a big milestone to hit.
So we're very blessed, and I was going to say, we waited 5 years. So that's what makes me happy. And I'm looking forward to 5 plus more, whatever. But yeah, we're very blessed, and to be fair, we're lucky to have a lot of people in our corner. I mean, people like yourselves, all the amazing people that come into our tap room every day, and our families and friends. Honestly, like I tell people all the time, like they're like, thank, like I'm starting to be a real thing. I'm like, no, thank you, like for real, like without you guys coming or wanting to even do the podcast, without you guys, we don't exist. So I literally thank everybody who comes in the door. Because, you give us the ability to do something we love to do. So,
I think Eric and I came to your soft opening in our first days. We were already to it was like cream ale was what the original was.
I mean, the only one that's still being made from back then.
Yeah. It's funny because we still get people who will bring up beers from like the first few months. Mm-hmm. And
you're gonna make that again?
Like, do you really remember that beer? Like,
I don't want to impressed. I'm glad they liked it. Yeah. We didn't remake it for a reason, but I'm glad that they liked it. A matter of fact, somebody asked me today, man, when are you gonna make that one sour again? You guys made it a long time ago. And I'm talking to him like, what do you mean? He's like, it was like really early. It's like maybe like the first one. It was red. I was like, oh, vibrant thing. He's like, yeah, you can make that again. I was like, I don't know.
At some point.
Honestly, I think that beer did really well, but it was definitely the first sour Jared ever put through here. But yeah, again, people did like it. So
yeah, and sometimes the as a creative, you're always questioning and second guessing and like wanting to tweak and improve. Like there's times where you have to find that balance of like, okay, just leave it alone. Like, because
that could be so hard to get.
Yes, because like no matter what, it's like you'll find something where you're like, it could be better.
Yeah,
right.
Well, we really enjoyed having you guys on, and we truly appreciate everything you guys do in the craft community.
Yeah, but I know like Blake living in Troy, east side of Troy, he always said like, this is my neighborhood brewery. This is. And it continues to be,
Thank you. And that's really what we want to be, is, we don't have giant plans of world domination or, destroying all across the world.
Loud.
Yeah, we like, being a, community hub, where people can come in and have a good time, and
meet new people. Like, it's the best part, seeing people come in at the bar by themselves and end up making friends with the other person across the bar. Like, well, now we're friends now.
Yeah, we got a lot of customers who met here and come here to hang out with each other, and so it's just like one big happy family.
I was gonna say we've had plenty of babies here. We know no babies have been had here. There's been plenty of people who have had babies since they've been here. And bring them in and have a good time, and
yeah. My cousin's baby was like maybe a month old, and
it's like we're taking
it was their first brewery.
Oh yeah, I got pictures of my youngest who was still like a baby when we were doing the build out and everything, and she's 6 now, and like
man, she walks around like she do whatever she wants. She owns a joint.
Yeah.
Well,
great.
I get it, juice box.
Well, thank you all very much.
Thank you, man.
Seriously.